All right.
Hey,
Here
Joe.
we go. Here we go today with episode 13. Let's do this. That's our intro. That simple, right?
That's it. No soundtrack.
No
No,
soundtrack today. Hey,
Okay.
we'll add the soundtrack. Is that gonna, yeah.
That's the hype song.
Yeah.
That's the ones we all walk out to. Like, hey, what's going on?
Oh yeah, that Brazilian rap. I'll put that one on just for you. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So today we have two very special guests. One of them comes from like 2,000 miles away. How far is California?
Probably about 2,000 miles
About
away.
2,000 miles
Yeah.
away. And then the other one is the one, the only Travis.
Howdy.
And he's part of the Jiu-Jitsu family at Soul Fighters. And we're so happy to have you. We're really pumped.
Super bump.
Yep. And Fernando, you too. You're a
Oh, yeah.
marathon runner. You're you're hardcore. I don't know why. Like seriously.
Yeah, I have. That's my first question. I can't
Right.
relate.
Like,
It's like,
why?
why?
It's like we can sit there and just say why.
first question. Why?
But yeah, then we have Joe here next to me. I'm so glad you're right like next to me now. I
This will be my last
I feel so warm. and fuzzy.
podcast.
Yeah, why? Are you gonna claim like sexual harassment now?
I feel I've been demoted
Yeah,
sitting
why?
next to you.
What? Oh,
Can't lock eyes anymore.
damn.
Wow.
Yeah, but you should see
Damn.
where my hand is.
Get
Whoa.
Yeah, wasn't there an earlier episode where y'all talked about sitting next to each other?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here we are. It's
Yeah.
Here
happening.
we are.
Mm.
Got it.
Oh, see, that's how powerful visualization
Spoken
is.
to reality.
Speaking of
I visualized a lot of stuff.
Affirmations came true.
See? Every morning when I sit there and meditate, I hope he sits next to me. I hope so. Oh, no. He is sitting next to me.
Yeah.
He is sitting.
Oh, there you
You
go.
got to think of the future, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So, Travis, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Travis?
Oh goodness. Travis is a father of two-year-old twins and a husband to a wonderful woman.
How long y'all been married?
We've been married 4.5 years, but we met in the 4th grade.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is actually really cool.
Yeah, so we've known each other since we were 9 and grew up down the street. She would not give me the time of day. I was relentless in my pursuit. And after 20-something years, finally got my chance. And I'd like to say it's because she finally lowered her standards.
Damn.
And I got her. Got her. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Nice. So, where'd you grow up?
In Georgetown.
Wow.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're
Down the street.
so I think that's why I thought you were living in Georgetown.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I mean, yeah, born and raised in Georgetown and left as soon as I could and swore I'd never come back. And then somehow found my way back here because of that pretty girl that I pursued. And man, fell in love with the town I grew up in, and now I'm raising my family here. So funny how that works with life, but
Mhm.
couldn't
Yeah.
think of a better place to be.
Oh yeah.
It's like life comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That is true. So what you came back full circle. Speaking of full circle, you came back from. Tell us about
Yeah,
that journey.
I left Georgetown 4 days after I graduated high school. And I like to say I was enrolled in college. I didn't necessarily attend. Definitely was riding the lightning back in those days, and looked around and saw that my group of friends was probably going to end up dead or in jail. And I wasn't far behind them. And so I went into the Marine Corps, which is something I wanted to always do as a kid, and was a junior when 9/11 happened. And so went ahead and took that leap and had a beautiful career in the Marine Corps. And then went into coaching in the NBA with the San Antonio Spurs, and then went into nonprofit and then back into business. And here I am, and
How'd you end up with the Spurs? I mean, that's our household favorite team. So
yeah.
when I told Rebecca that, she was like, does he know so and so? I was like, yeah, he was telling me about whose wedding he was in, and she was like,
wow.
oh, my forehead. For a whole day, she was like, ask him more. So how'd you fall into it, or how did it come around?
Yeah. a guy that I was in the teams with, his dad had deep ties to Greg Popovich, head coach. And I was getting my undergraduate degree in anatomy and physiology and was in San Antonio, University of Texas, San Antonio, and figured I'd just go for it and got a packet put on Coach Pop's desk and the phone rang.
Wow.
And they offered me an internship for free. So at that time, I was a full-time student and working 2 jobs. And now that would have been my 3rd job, which was free. I did my first year and just grinded and then graduated, and they hired me on staff. And I did 2 more seasons on the coaching staff.
Mhm.
And I mean, honestly, I still work for the Holt family, the family that owns the Spurs. I still work for them on the business side. So, I mean, it has truly shaped my career. Yeah, I was very fortunate.
As a Lakers fan, I don't think that's interesting at all.
Oh my God.
I mean,
LeBron, really?
I actually tuned out.
Is it really LeBron?
I heard Spurs, and then and I heard business.
You heard class,
And
and you're
you're
just like,
Hey, can you turn that microphone on?
yeah.
I think we need to turn this microphone on.
Hey, question though, what about Wembanyama?
Oh,
yeah, I
man.
can't
What do
wait.
you
think?
First pick.
What do you think's gonna happen with the franchise now with that pick?
You know, there's a lot of talk. We're in a unique spot. Obviously, number 1 pick. We know who we're getting. And that's all good and well, but it's what happens. You know, Pop is in a spot where I think had we not got that pick, he would have hung it up. Now he's not. I think we were probably going to go really hard after Monty, who now just signed with Detroit. You know, Bud just got fired from Milwaukee. So I think we were probably going to shift head coaches and take a different direction. And then we got that pick and everything's changed. So I don't really know how this is going to shake out. I know there's probably 3 or 4 key young players that we will hopefully keep. I don't have like the inside track on that. But I could see us doing some big moves for maybe another 1st round pick or a higher 2nd round pick and trying to build something for the next 5 years. I mean, I think the kid's a stud. I worry about his body, similar to like Yao.
Yeah, he's skinny.
You know, his ankles. I mean, we look at David Robinson's career.
Yeah.
You have this huge guy that had a 26-inch waist and he had lower back pain because you got these 2 large muscle groups that attach on this small bone, right? And you saw it with Yao and his ankles. And so I think we're really going to have to figure out how we can keep this kid strong and keep him from getting pushed off the block, because there's some big guys he's going to be going up against.
Yeah, as a guy who has a 26-inch waist, there's some struggles with that.
Is there?
But what you have to do, just do a lot of core work. You know, I do a lot of planking and all that, just so.
That's
I mean,
the trick.
By planking, do you mean like just laying down flat?
Yes, I'm watching a lot of TV. And
You might have some,
Oh, you said 26. I'm saying 46.
oh, I was gonna say you could, shop at Kohl's in the kids section and
Right.
you probably find some stuff.
My legs are not long enough for the adults.
Yeah, I've been slowly just following the momentum on this, and it's like a weird blend between like a Tim Duncan and a Tony Parker, right? So it's a nice little blend of athletic French guy, but yeah, same thing. Like his feet are so much longer and bigger than like his joint looks to hold. But when you see him move, it's weird. It, like weirdly good. He's very efficient for as big as he is.
He's supposed to be the biggest talent, not since LeBron or anyone, the biggest talent ever for a viewership or for our listeners. I don't know how many people agree with that. Talent's talent, but you have to see what happens.
Yeah.
But this could be something like we haven't seen before. So even though I'm a Laker fan, I do respect the Spurs. They're a great franchise, and their coach probably one of the best, if not the best. And for him to work with that kid, it's going to be really neat to see as a fan of basketball.
You know, the big 3, like, so Manu is, taking a job in the front office. He just finished his first year.
Oh, wow.
Tony owns the team that, this guy has been playing for in France and has voiced an interest of coming back and finding some sort of capacity with the Spurs officially. And then Tim has voiced that he'll be involved, I think, as a non-official role. So you look at the big 3 is about to come together to support this kid with Pop. And Coach Brown, who was a longtime coach with the Spurs, left for a head coach job and has come back. And so I think they're going to build some really cool things around him. I'm excited for the whole family. I mean, the value of the franchise went up $500 million just from getting that pick.
Wow.
And so I'm excited for them. They're great owners, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch.
That's incredible.
That is. Wow.
Yeah.
So before we move, because I want to hear about Fernando and his crazy marathons, because they are crazy. Like I just got to call them what they are. 4 hours of
That's if you run a decent.
yeah.
pace.
That's if you
If
that's
you run a marathon,
right?
4 hours,
6
4
hours.
I think
so-
keyword is run.
Yeah.
So out of the tell us about your Marine Corps career, because obviously I'm a big fan of that.
Oh yeah.
that part.
Yeah. No, man, I did 8 years in the Marine Corps. The entirety of my time was spent in the recon community of special operations world. Also attended and graduated Scout Sniper School in Quantico and served in the Middle East in those capacities. Was a part of a really historic prototype, you could say. Like when I was in that world, MARSOC didn't exist. At that time, the Marine Corps, kind of the furthest you could go was recon and force recon. And just to like avoid any stolen valor conversation, I was not a part of Det 1 or Det 2, which were the first detachments from that world. But then what the Marine Corps did was they did these task forces where these small groups, I don't use the term loosely, detached. They didn't truly detach from the Marine Corps, but these small task forces went and did these deployments to work with other SOCOM units and perform SOCOM operations and test these waters, right? And so I was a part of one of those in the Mideast, and it was a fairly historic one. Obviously, that comes with extreme combat and loss, and so like it's one of those things where it's cool to say, yeah, I was a part of that, but obviously it comes at a true cost when people have heard of it. And so I, was blessed to go on that deployment and stand next to giants and work with them and call them brother, and came back and finished my career in that world, and I went into coaching like immediately following my service. And so but yeah, that's what I did in the Marine Corps.
Oh wow.
Fantastic.
You were talking about the different units. On my last deployment, we worked with Marine Expeditionary units. Is that still before MARSOC? When was MARSOC? Because I feel MARSOC is pretty recent.
Yeah, I mean, so like Det 1 and Det 2, these were groups that detached from the Marine Corps, attached to SOCOM.
Okay.
Those went down in like 04, 05.
Okay.
I was over there in 06, 07. MARSOC, I believe, was formally stood up. I could be off by a year or two, but I believe around 09.
Yeah.
And obviously Recon Battalion and Force Recon still exist.
Yep.
MARSOC has created their own schoolhouse. Now. They were just recruiting talent from the existing reconnaissance community. So like, I guess the question about expeditionary forces, like that could be a general term for Marine units that are just deployed and anywhere in the world. So like even when I was deployed and a part of this task force, I was a part of a Marine expeditionary force.
Okay.
But I was like a
piece of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yep. You always have like a parent company that you belong to.
Honestly, in the one I did, it was a task force. So it was a hybrid. It was kind of pulling guys from other groups and combining them. Yeah. So that way that talent would be, if MARSOC were to be successful, that talent and that experience could be spread across the community.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So it was, the majority of the guys were from my unit, but there was other guys picked from other units to make this small task force, which is it was only 2 platoons.
That's cool.
So, I mean, it was like 40 operators.
Wow.
And maybe 100 folks in support of us 40.
Did you I'm not familiar with the Marine selection. Was that you tested well, or like did you apply? Like how'd that happen? If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, no, believe it or not, I signed up to be in the reserves. And so when you sign up to be in the reserves, you have to pick a job that's within 100 miles of where you live. And there's actually a recon unit in San Antonio.
Wow.
And so, and I was going to college, again, I was enrolled in college in San Antonio. And so you could at the time sign up for like a recon contract, which meant you would go to boot camp, you would go to infantry school, and then you would come back to the recon battalion and be given an opportunity. And if you washed out or quit or they deemed you unworthy, they would reclass your job for something that the unit may need within 100 miles. And so I went to boot camp infantry school, and they went to this thing called RMAT, which is Recon Marine Awaiting Training. It's like an indoctrination program. And you go in there and you get your ass whipped for, quite a while. And then you eventually earn a nomination to go to the formal schoolhouse, which I did, and then actually had to go back and do it again. And then, so I was in that like pipeline of like boot camp until I was in the teams. It was almost 2 years from the time I went to boot camp before I actually checked into a special operations team.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fantastic. Wow. Travis, thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Honor to serve you guys as well.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Fernando, what's cracking like in there?
Oh man, thank you so much for inviting me out here to Texas, man. I'm really enjoying my my time here.
Yeah,
Looking forward
Texas.
for the rest of the days here that I'm here.
Nice. So let's get right into it. Tell us about this whole running thing, because why? Like he's gone to he recently went to Amsterdam to go run.
For the Amsterdam Marathon.
Was the Amsterdam the trip, or was the run the trip?
Well, I wanted to pick somewhere that I wanted to go visit, right?
Okay.
I think that's what I usually try to do, right? So it's like the last marathon I did was in Oregon, in Eugene, Oregon, which is called Tracktown USA because of Nike and Phil Knight and everything and whatnot. But I've also ran like half marathons in places like Scottsdale, Arizona, Las Vegas.
Okay.
Ran another marathon in San Diego. So it kind of gives me like a reason to go visit some of these cities.
Okay. Do you consider yourself a hobbyist or a competitor?
No, a hobbyist. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the people that are competitors, they're running these races like in marathons, like in low 2 hours, right? Like 2 hours and 5 minutes, 2 hours and 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
2 hours.
2
Yeah.
hours.
Oh my god.
But even the people that are like really good, they still do it in 3 hours, right? So my last race I did, my time was 4:03.
What kind of pace is that?
9:18 a mile.
Yeah.
For 26.2.
26.2. Yeah. And the crazy thing is I remember when I first started getting back into running, because I've always kind of like ran here and there and I would stop, is when you start running more miles and you don't stop, right? Because the thing is, for a lot of people, it's like they get to a point where they feel like their body's overheating, they started too quickly, they're not taking the proper hydration or the nutrients, right? And then once I figured that all out, it's like I can now go 18 miles, 20 miles, 26.2 miles and not have to stop.
Oh wow.
Do you wear headphones when you run, or
I stopped, man. I used to wear like something to like listen to music, like some kind of ear pod.
Yeah.
And what I realized is like when I run without it, I'm kind of more in the zone.
Yeah.
Kind of just enjoying nature, being outside, being in my thoughts. And if I'm running a race, then I'm just kind of observing the whole race and the people out there as well.
Yeah.
So for 4 hours.
For about 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I would need some Bad Bunny,
Would you roll for 4 hours?
Yeah, there would be no Zoom for me. I would be cursing and yelling at myself and asking, why the heck am I doing this? And I did, when I was in college, I did triathlons, it sounds, but the running part, I think the most I ever did was a 5K, which is nothing like a marathon. I remember I was in shape because Chris and I grew up as swimmers, so swimming was bad. And the ocean water temperature was so cold, they told us they were canceling the swim.
Wow.
So what they did is they replaced it with another 5K. So we did a 5K. We did like an 18-mile bike and we did a 5K. And after that, I stopped doing triathlons. And so the mental part of it, I just don't have it, I guess you could say, yet. I mean, there's a reason why people invented like vehicles and stuff. So if I want to go 26 miles, I sometimes get mad when I have to drive 26 miles, but I can imagine I'm going to do this for fun. I'm going to go to San Diego to run which is awesome.
I don't mind those distances when there's an activity. So I've done some 24-hour races, like more like scavenger hunt, adventure style races with groups, because there's things to do. So it takes your mind off the monogamy of just running.
Yeah.
But to just, hey, run by telephone poles for so long.
And no headphones,
And
no Bad Bunny.
I think the thing is
There's a cloud.
I like there's different forms of like pain, right?
Yeah,
Like, you're probably
absolutely.
looking at it as like, why do you want to go get
Yeah.
crushed by
Yeah.
some other human? And we're like, same way. Why do you want to go out there and crush yourself? So,
but it's fun with you guys too, because I've done it a couple times. I've been invited a couple times. I go, I get turned into a pretzel. I'm good, man. Oh, but I think the thing is, it's like you have to find something else, right? That you want to compete in, that you want to get better in.
Yeah.
So in the past month, I haven't done much running, but I did go on I've gone on a couple hikes, but the last hike I did was kind of near where I live. It's called Mission Peak. It's a 2-hour steep hike, right? The person I went with was a person younger, and she complained the entire time. Oh man, are we there yet? Are we halfway there yet? Let's take a break. The entire time, I didn't stop one time, right? I'm like,
Was she Filipino and related to Joe?
hey, but she is Filipino. She's Filipino.
Was she Filipino? Well, we're not made for that type of so there's a design. I don't want to get too religious, but God has a design for different types of people.
So what do you-
when he made Filipinos, there's a reason why we're on islands, because we don't want to be taking long trips anywhere.
So what do you design for?
Karaoke,
Yeah.
eating like lots of lumpia,
Oh,
yeah.
all right.
karaoke,
More lumpia.
Yeah.
collecting shoes, watching boxing.
There we go.
Yeah.
Working at hospital.
Yeah.
Work at hospital.
Navy.
Own the Navy. They pretty much own the Navy.
My mom
They do.
was-
There is the Navy
Yeah, there's
mafia known as the Philippines.
nurses, the American sailors.
In a very respectful way.
Yes.
But for you,
thanks for your service.
is and it's come up in a couple of episodes, and I think that's why we're kind of lost. It's just that's your why. It's just what brought you to it. Of all the activities you could do, from sitting on your couch watching TV to playing Xbox to golf to poker to jiu-jitsu, out of all those things, how did you come across running?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's because years ago.
Somebody was chasing you.
No, yeah. Right. Let me get
Nice.
So years ago, I would run a race because it would seem fun. Then I'd be like, oh, this sucks, and then I would go back to whatever I was doing, right? But I feel like a couple of years ago, I was like, I need like a competition, right? Like you guys might have a competition for jiu-jitsu, and it's on January 7th or something, and you train up to it and you do whatever it takes, and then from it you improve and you do it again, right? And so a couple of years ago, I was like, well, out of all things I can do, the running is like the easiest and cheapest one you can do. Just get some running shoes and get out there and run. So that's kind of how it started. But the way I look at it now is I don't plan to do this for a lot longer. I always try to run, but not like long distances. Now I've created a baseline where if I wanted to do something else, right? If I wanted to do trail running or ultra marathon running, right? Which is similar, but it's a little different, right? If I want to do boxing, or if I wanted to do some other athletic sport.
Like Tough Mudders and
Tough Mudder or whatnot. Anything that really requires a lot of endurance. Like I've already built up such kind of an endurance baseline that now I can transfer what I have into something else, right? The strength training part, I also go to the gym about 4 times a week. So a lot of runners, they just run. They don't go to the gym. They're skinny. Like that's kind of just how they are. But I've always made an emphasis to like not let go of this side while I build up my endurance.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever thought with that, instead of doing something like running, like competitive eating? Because there's an endurance. No, that's a sport.
yeah.
I know.
And then like you pick a food you like.
All right, I can argue about sport, but yeah.
You like hot dogs,
Oh,
right?
well,
Those 8-inch hot dogs.
What's
Like-
your furthest race? So have you only done marathons up to this point, or have you done like an enduro?
Yeah, no, marathons up to this point, but I'm very intrigued by some of the trail races that could be 50K or 50 miles.
Yeah.
The only thing with those, you got to really block off a lot of time to train for
Yeah.
those in the recovery as well.
Yes, sir.
I actually paced on the Havilon
Ah.
100. A buddy of mine was trying to set a world record. So
Mhm.
this is a 100-mile race, and it's probably one of the more difficult terrain ones. And a buddy of mine was going for a world record. He had done a bunch of 100-mile races, but he wanted to run one with a 45-pound weighted vest.
Wow.
He's a veteran, wanted to
Yeah.
do this to raise funds.
Mhm.
And so he asked me to be his pacer.
Mhm.
Well, he popped his Achilles on like mile 60.
Oh, wow.
Well, I guess let me think. It was mile 70. He popped his Achilles. And so instead of being his pacer, I ran the last 30 miles so that we as a team would
Ooh,
do.
wow.
Now I didn't wear a vest, and I by no means kept his pace. I say all that to say that was my first exposure to the ultra marathon
Yeah.
community. It's a cool community, and they're like super good people, man. Like
Mhm.
that was like
Yeah.
this really cool. I got to be a visitor there.
Mhm.
It was amazing. It was
Wow.
cool.
Were there quite a few people there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's like a whole village that like people
Mhm.
pop tent. They build tents and like
Uh-huh.
there's food trucks and stuff.
Oh,
and,
ready like checkpoints for him.
and
or
it's like
whatever?
and then you run these like loops, and so you come
Wow.
back in, and
Okay.
then you run the trail the other way on the loop, and that's
Yeah.
how they like keep track of how far you've gone. And
So you ran the
Oh.
30?
I ran the
Which one
last 30.
What's the
Yeah,
name of that one?
the Havilon 100. It's
Okay.
in like Arizona.
There's another one in like Tennessee, Virginia. That's another 100-miler,
Yeah.
and it's a loop, like
Okay.
some crazy
Oh,
guy. There's a Netflix special on it.
Oh yeah,
Barclays.
the
Barclays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a really hard one.
Hardly
Yeah.
anybody finishes.
Part
it.
of that labeled the hardest
Yeah.
race because a lot of it is terrain. So that's
Yeah.
what sparked that. I was
20-mile loops. You had to do it 5 times.
yeah.
Hardly anybody. I know
Yeah.
David Goggins finished it, right?
He's
No.
done others. He's done others.
He hasn't done that one yet.
Not that one.
He's done others.
But he did what
That's
Moab
supposed to be a
240.
funny.
And it's
yeah.
a very yeah.
240 miles.
Yeah.
In how many days?
It's-
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. Jamie, tell us.
I don't know. Do we really?
yeah.
Yeah, let's.
That
Yeah.
one where he's talking on like Rogan, where he's like crapped himself sitting.
Yeah.
in the chair.
Kind of white belt.
That's right.
What's that called? A dentin cream? What
Yeah.
is it?
No, that's called love.
Right. What was the name of the race?
A what? A
Like
what?
bloody ass.
No,
What was
he,
the name?
Moab
Wow.
240.
Oh, Moab
Utah.
240?
I
Moab.
ran it with
two.
this guy named Cameron Haynes.
Oh, the hunter.
The hunter.
The
Yeah.
bow hunter.
Yeah.
yeah,
that
the
guy,
bow hunter.
that guy
Yeah.
runs every day too.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
He runs so that when he goes and he gets his kill, he's in shape to bring it back.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's what the main forward.
That's
is for.
dedication.
Yeah.
That's like
Dude,
me doing
40
treadmill. So when I go to Popeyes, I don't get tired when I have to walk in and stand in line.
When are you gonna stop eating? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, that's pretty
Eating,
cool. I like the fox.
How many?
Look at that.
How many?
What does
hours
the
do
fox
you have?
say?
Are we allowed to watch it? Sorry.
What the fox doesn't? Hell no.
116-hour cutoff.
Look at that.
Oh.
239.66 miles. Wow.
Why is it?
Look at your elevation gain and loss. 31,000
Wow.
feet.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Tap,
Peace.
tap, lights out.
Dude, let me ask you a question when you're running. Because when
Yeah.
I run, all I think about is when is this going to be over?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's like every 10 seconds, like, when is this going to be over? Why am I doing this? I guess 2 questions. One, when you started running,
Mm.
did you do that? And 2, do you still do that?
Yeah, so when I started, definitely, dude, I was like, I signed up for a half marathon in Arizona, and I was like, you know what? Since it's been 8 years since I ran a half marathon, I ran 2 previously in my earlier 30s. I just said I'm gonna do this one, check it off the list, move on to something else. But I think what happened is, as I started to train for this race, I took it seriously. In the past, they say train 5 days a week, I would train 3 days a week, right? And so now it's finally getting better, seeing improvement, and today, I would say I probably don't do that, right? Unless I have to go to work, I have an appointment or something coming up, then of course I want to end at that point. But if I could run like without thinking about what the time is, I could end up, it could be 15 miles without me even thinking about it.
Okay.
Wow.
Zoning out.
So you
Zoning
just
out,
kind
yeah.
of now.
So do you ever run just to run? Because I had a friend, he did a marathon with a weighted vest
Uh-huh.
and a gas mask
Wow.
and military boots just to do it. He's one of those. But do you ever when he's trying to get me to run.
Yeah.
He got me to 10 miles. That's the most I've done,
Uh-huh.
but I did that in 6 weeks from the
Yeah.
couch too. And then I'm like, I can't do this running thing. But do you ever, sometimes when he was training me, because he was training me for a half marathon, he wouldn't tell me how far we're running.
Yes.
He's just like,
that's
we're just
important.
going to run.
Yeah.
No, it's important. I know how far I go.
When does
And-
this end?
I need
And-
goals.
and
Yeah, I
just
need to,
run.
I need structure.
Do you
Yeah.
do you know how far you're going when you do
Or do
run,
you
or
just
you just
run
like run
sometimes?
for feeling like, I'll turn around now?
Yeah, well, I would know. I would say it really depends on how much time I have, right? Like if I
Yeah.
don't have like a something to go to that day, I'll
Yeah.
try to go as long as I can go.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, right? We're all busy. We'll have
Yeah.
different things going on. So if my schedule, which usually is pretty busy, then I'll just try to structure it to get as much as I can
Okay.
within that given time frame.
How old are you?
43.
43. Hey, thank you. Yeah, nice.
So
Representing the 40s. How long have you been doing this? Like in this
I
competitive?
would say since I got serious about 2 years ago, almost
Okay.
2 years ago. Yeah.
Hey,
so
That's
no
nice.
no headphones, no music.
Uh-huh.
I know,
I prefer that way too.
right?
Yeah.
But then you got your little voice talking.
Yeah,
to
your little
you.
voice,
Oh.
your drunk monkey.
You're drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, your ego.
I listen to the
Monster
breathing.
monkey.
Yeah.
Like if I can, I
but-
kind of meditate to the breathing rhythm. and
But
then
you know what though? If you want to be impressed, look up the Chinese guy that smokes cigarettes while he runs marathons.
Does he have an
And
Instagram
he's
page?
fast.
And you look
I
at
want
it,
to follow that.
326.
now I'm interested.
A 326 while burning
What is
carbs.
it?
Wow.
Just like Chinese guy smoking cigarettes running marathon.
Yeah.
Why does that remind me of old school?
Yeah, there you go.
Vince Vaughn was-
I wonder how many he goes through. The mystery. I love this.
All right. Let's pull it
Yeah,
up. Let's
see,
pull it
Uncle
up.
Chen.
Uncle Chen.
Uncle Chin.
Yeah,
There he
Dude, this guy is badass.
is.
He is lighting up before he even starts.
Look at that.
Okay, so I had this guy when I was coming into the reconnaissance community. I had an instructor that was a madman, and he was a college cross country runner, and
That's
he was
crazy.
like he would be the guy that would run us, and
Yeah.
he would literally like after we would fail this run to his standard because he was the instructor and we were just lowly wannabe recon guys. He would literally, I'm going to leave parts of it out, but he would say, I smoked a pack of Marlboro Reds and drank a box of wine and was with my wife, but he worded it differently.
Yeah.
And you guys are 21 years old and can't keep up on a 5-mile run. And I
Yeah.
remember just being like so deflated.
Wow. Yeah.
And he would smoke
Like-
cigarettes after we would finish runs.
Oh my god!
And he
Kind of
was,
open up my lungs.
he was a beast.
Yeah, it
Hey,
helps.
look at it. Last paragraph. Chen jokes that cigarettes help him with fatigue. And it's one in his mouth. We can inhale more easily and keep running.
He should be
He's
sponsored.
50 years old.
I bet he doesn't make it to 7.
He is not a regular smoker and only smokes during the marathon running. Oh my
Where's
God.
this?
Go down a little bit. Right there, right underneath the advertisements, local media
Smoking bro.
report. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The smoking bro. I
Only
love this
smokes
guy.
That's crazy.
I gotta follow that guy on
Yeah.
social
I
media.
got a new hero.
Smoking
in my
bro.
life.
That's your new hero.
Uncle Chen.
Uncle Chen.
Theo Chen.
That's what
Uncle Chen kicks ass.
So you should name your wrist locks and give you the old
The old
Uncle Chen.
So what I try to do, one last thing, and gosh, I used to do zombie runs just to get me to run. And what happens is you do it at night. It's
Yeah.
like flag football and people are dressed up as zombies. Some of those mother guys cheat. They're not supposed to sprint because you're running a 3-mile race. So you're going
That's
to
the
the
Will Smith
zombies.
zombies, man.
This one zombie, I think he played receiver for like an NFL team because he started sprinting and I started yelling at him like, you can't be sprinting. You can't be sprinting because he was cheating. And so they get the flags and I got 2 medals. I've done 2 of them, but I need to do it like that where I'm trying to run away from zombies. I can't sit there with my thoughts like, hey, look at the little bunny rabbit, or there's a tree, or then, oh, I can feel the breeze on my face. I'm like you, like this sucks. When is it over? My side hurts, my foot hurts. There's a million other things I can do for
So,
exercise.
Why do you do jujitsu? Because that's all we hear out of you. My wrist, my shoulder, my breast.
Well, when you when you do as many rolls, maybe it's because the amount of training I've done. Yeah, I'm kind of like the jujitsu version of what Travis is talking about. You know, when a
Yeah.
guy my age can sit there and do what I do, You guys sit back and you're drinking your little sparkly waters.
They
I
had
don't
just
know.
started the art of jujitsu when he was what 10 years old. So
wow.
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So
Elio used to cheat at cards when we played.
yeah,
Elio
right?
Gracie
You know what would be
He
impressive?
smoked cigarettes during the rolls.
Yeah, exactly.
used to put them out on my hand.
Yeah.
He helped bring it over from Japan to Brazil.
Yeah,
So,
that's yeah. He was part of that crew. So
Smoked
Yeah.
on the boat.
that's why he hurts a lot.
It's,
You know.
yeah, PBJJ, right?
Peanut butter jelly.
That should be something.
Come get your
Peanut
dessert.
butter and jelly jujitsu.
Hey, I make t-shirts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's see. What
So
what's
I
that
want
look
to
like?
combine the question for both of them right here. So it's your why, and this has come up in a lot of podcasts because there's a menu of things that we could do. We could turn out, or we could do. You chose to do marathons. You chose to sign up for the reserves. You chose to go, get a position MBA. So, like, what was the decision making on those things? And then when you dive into it, like for me, I dove into running, but heck no, what kept you in those?
That's a great question. I would say because what's the most important, it's one thing to try something, it's something to stick with it, right?
Yeah.
Because we all try different, it didn't work, it wasn't that good. Have you heard of the 10,000 hour rule by Malcolm Gladwell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep doing it over and over.
Yep.
Do it for 10,000 hours.
I know exactly what you're talking
Uh-huh.
about because there's this paper cutter move that I have, this choke.
Yeah.
I've 10,000 plus times. So
Okay, you mastered
yeah,
it.
I fucking
Yeah.
No, dude,
yeah. Yeah.
It-
So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, go carry on.
Yeah.
carry on.
So the thing is this, it's right. It's like do something for 10,000 hours, right? I mean, you're not logging, you're not keeping a log or nothing like that, but do it enough to know, okay, I've done the best I can do. Now I'm ready to move on, or I want to continue to master it, right?
Go deeper.
It's like the whole content thing we're talking today about lunch, right? This whole thing that you started doing a podcast. Actually, a year ago, we started talking about this, remember?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, in a year, you've come so far. Now imagine the more you put into this, you can build your own studio, right? You can create a
Right.
business out of it, right? You can produce for people. You can do all these other things for the other people that want to create their own content and brand and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
and
I also
Fernando-
think too though, about the 10,000 hour
Yeah.
rule. I think it has to be quality,
It does have to be
right?
quality,
Like you can
absolutely.
just do 10,000 to do 10,000 hours. I should be a master because I did
Yeah.
10,000 hours of it or 10,000 reps, but those have to be really successful. And I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I'm from reading similar down those lines.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good concentrated practice.
Mhm.
That's how you're really going to get better. And there are good studies that show that the people who put those 10,000 hours is concentrated. Like I'm focused and going to keep it simple, but in these 10,000 reps or hours, it's a concentrated effort versus like kind of, I'm good.
Yeah, you don't get better.
But to your point, I like with Luis and the graduation of this podcast and what he's doing with it, you can tell there's a concentration in doing it and making it well.
Yeah.
So that's when I think other people will see like big improvements.
Yeah, I mean, you can get really good at doing
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. 10,000 hours the other way.
Yeah.
I would almost say sometimes there's probably more hours spent. Not saying doing bad,
Yeah.
but like in a true sense, like what I noticed from like people who are really successful, really like power people, is they have a lot of different 10,000 hours in different areas. But
That's
every
right.
time they're in those lanes, they're nailing that lane.
That's right.
They're maximizing every 10,000 hours.
We were talking about it earlier today in another podcast with Bedros Koulian, remember?
Yeah.
And he was basically what he was saying, influencer online. He owns various companies, but it all started with a Fit Body boot camp. He started Fit Body boot camp, started selling franchises, but now he has like 7 businesses. And he goes, because I mastered this one business, now I can use my brand to sell other businesses.
Yeah.
I sell shirts, I sell supplements, I sell coaching, I sell masterminds, right? And I believe that's kind of the way we're going, right? They call it the one person business, where people are going to buy more you than what you're selling, right? I can sell you these candies, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm selling you the candies, and you know
Sold.
who I am,
Sold.
right? There you go.
Good. Good food. So sorry, Fernando.
Yeah,
I don't
no
think you
worries.
understand the joke.
Uh,
So that's a Marine Corps joke.
okay.
So we love to eat crayons.
Oh, okay.
That's
Red's my favorite flavor.
That's why the Navy guy gave me the crayons, because everyone says the Marines eat crayons.
And the Marine got the edible crowns.
Yeah.
Like,
so
Are these the kind of make you sleep?
so, so it's so funny to see your face. You were like, "What? Why is that so funny?"
Yeah.
Like,
I should have grabbed the sour.
I got a
Right,
pivot.
right,
I got a pivot question. Because we have Travis here,
Yeah.
and we're all in the same jiu-jitsu family. Hopefully, if you transfer here, we could brainwash you.
Yeah.
We'd love for you to expand on this
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
fresh blood.
You made a comment the other day. I know you lightly talked about it. The history of kind of the Soul Fighters. You mentioned rolling in a trailer. I feel like from some of the history you've told me that you've been on the early side of Soul Fighters in this area. Can you explain or give us more or help those who are listening understand?
Sir, in other words, can you elaborate?
Elaborate.
So back in the day.
Guns.
No, yeah. So look, I trained jiu-jitsu when I lived in Houston at a great gym, very high level gym, nothing but love, under the Six Blades lineage. And then just fell out of it, went through some hard stuff in life, got lazy, got distracted, got like depressed and isolated, right? And so trained for like a year and a half at a really nice gym in Houston, and then moved to Georgetown again to like pursue my now wife. We were dating but lived in different cities, and so we needed to kind of live around each other before you take this next step. And like always regretted getting out of jiu-jitsu, loved it when I did it. And when I came back to Georgetown, there was one gym, and it's a great gym and it's still there, and I got friends there, but it wasn't the gym for me. The culture just wasn't what I look for in a gym. And trained there for like 6 months, and then that was it at the time. There was no other gyms in Georgetown. And so I remember I was in a hotel room traveling for work, and I would check every month or two to see if there was a new gym in Georgetown, and I saw a Soul Fighter Georgetown. And it was like really not far from where I lived, which is convenient. And like in that hotel room at like 8:30 at night, I called the number, and the professor Roberto answers the phone, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, "Are you the professor?" He's like, "Yeah, come by and train. I live here, so you can come by anytime and train." Cool, man. So like a couple days later, I show up at noon, and it's a double wide trailer that's like, if you know where the Catfish Parlor is off Williams Drive, it's that trailer that you can see from the parking lot.
No way.
So it's like this double wide trailer behind a fried catfish shack. And
but that smelled great.
yeah, it sure did. And dude, I went in there, and like it was bad. I'll just say it. Like floors were rotten. You had to watch where you stepped, or you would fall through the floor.
Oh, wow.
They had converted like a dining room into the mats, so there was probably 200 square feet of mat space. That they had to lay boards down so you wouldn't fall through the floor, and then the mats on top of the boards. And you couldn't start standing, because if you fell into the interior walls, you would crash through these like paper thin walls. And there was like 3 students and this black belt. And man, I liked Roberto. I honestly, I was like, man, this is an opportunity. I'm basically going to get like free one-on-ones. I'm gonna pay this like really cheap membership, because he needed members. And I'm gonna get one-on-ones. And he's like, you can come whenever you want. You can come to normal class, or you can just come whenever you want. Like, done. And so started training there. I think there was like 5 students. You'd have guys show up, and they'd realize it was kind of a shithole, and they'd like leave. So you got like these like temporary drop-ins, but like, so we had like five people kind of that were regular. I got my blue belt there in this trailer. And then it got worse. He then decided to move out to this shed, this metal shed on this like 1 acre place, kind of on the outskirts of town. And this 1 acre had grass up to your chest. It was right next to a cemetery.
Where people go to die.
Yeah. Like literally it had a
Sling
fence.
blade.
Like you had to like pull up and like get out and like opened this rusty gate. It was terrible. And then you had nowhere to park because the weeds were so high. And so it's this metal shed with no insulation, no AC. It didn't even have like a toilet. But the good thing is that the acre was used to store porta johns. And so you always had a place to go.
That's convenient.
And the guy that was like renting that space for his porta johns would like pull up in his truck full of crap and like dump it in the corner.
Wow.
And so like you're in there smelling crap, and I there was no water. If it was 105 outside, it was 105 in that metal building. If it was 30 degrees outside, you were in there training with socks because your feet were sticking to the mat because it was frozen. And we trained there for like another year or two. That's where like T came from, and Trace and Gabe and me. And we trained there for years. I trained in this like very Spartan. I went from this like elite gym with guys that have fought for the UFC belts that were training partners into this. And I liked this more.
Yeah.
And we were tight, man. And it was very Spartan, but it was a tough crew.
Yeah.
And then Professor Roberto decided that he needed to move back to Brazil and shut down the gym. And Bruno was awesome enough to accept us as his students and carry over the instructor belt that Roberto had given me. And then obviously now we're in Soul Fighters Leander, and he's expanded. And it's what I said after those belt promotions, like look around and realize how lucky we are to train where we train with the community and the family, because some of us didn't start there. And so I guess long answer, but that's my path in jiu-jitsu, man.
What year was this, if you don't mind me asking? The trailer.
Oh man, it was probably 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So the comparison, right? The contrast is.
But it went back to our Marine Corps days, man. Like when you trained combatives and you did our stuff that we did in the Marine Corps, like, dude, you did it in some sand pit or some like
29 palms,
metal
29
building. Palms. And so it just connected to me. I'm like, this is where I learned to scrap, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what would be worse, training for a marathon or being in a trailer with the smell of poop and urine.
Wow.
But I think it depends on how just everyone's different, and whether it's running, which is the right fit for you, or you training in some type of
poop.
Yeah. And all of us here, it's just, again, it kind of comes to like a purpose, like the challenge. You mentioned challenge, like you like the improvement. And even though I can't relate to marathon running, I can relate to that, respect that. And then for you and what you've done, which isn't much, but I know that you've done some things, but then the way, whether it's marathon running or being in the Marines or MBA or jiu-jitsu, it's just, I think it's a type of person that likes to see improve effort with the 10,000 hours. And I think that's why people can meet and click so quickly, because we almost have like this unspoken kind of wiring in our brains. And you can kind of pick up on that.
Perspective as well.
It's the DNA.
Good.
Hey, you know what you remind me of now? Like,
remember, we're in episode 13. I want to make it to 20.
Like, no, seriously, like a French bulldog, right? They don't really like to move too much. They don't like to run. They sit still. They're cute. They're kind of stocky, but then they do complain a lot about stuff. They're always whiny. Is it just me, or is that a little French?
Can't wait to pee on your leg.
Ooh. Oh, gross. That's a different shower. That's a different shower.
It's kind of like the old days of the old jiu-jitsu gym, just pee and poop everywhere.
I think it's time for the deck.
Oh yeah, that's
stupid.
Right.
Should we explain to our guests what this deck is?
We kind of did when they were here, but maybe for the new listeners.
Affirmators.
Yes.
Affirmators.
So like you can see, we do have our collection of the previous cards up on the wall.
Look at that.
So we have peacefulness, we have perspective, we have optimism, which is right here. Joe,
Mr. Sunshine over here. It's stupid.
Playfulness, and then we have awesomeness with that awesome panda. So really, every single time we've been drawing one, it magically relates to
what we've been talking about.
yeah, like in a very bizarre way.
Wow.
Like
So,
Lucky Charms, magically delicious.
so yeah, let's go ahead and pick but I think we should do two. We got two
We
guys.
got two
Yeah, I
guests.
think we should-
So
and I'm very
take the
excited.
top card and then pass, and then you take the next top card. And then you each get to read yours in your best
These are
voice.
So you can get silly with it. You can get serious. I mean, yeah, people prefer silly.
Audience crying is
Here.
crying.
That?
Crying is
Quality
good.
cards.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did not.
we don't love the deck.
We don't know.
We don't know them.
It's sacred. We do
It's
not
sacred.
like even allow
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
to look at it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Options. As I open to the abundant possibilities of my life's path, I'm reminded that I always have unlimited options. Life is a buffet, and I allow myself to choose whatever makes me happiest without limiting thoughts like you can't put mac and cheese on your baked potato.
Ooh, I'd agree. You have to.
No.
You have to put mac and cheese on a baked potato.
Actually, that's all we've been talking
That's
about.
all we've been talking about. Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
No, you and I over the last week.
Uh-huh.
That's all you.
Along the lines. Yeah. Like, because what happens is a person feel helpless when they don't have options.
Yeah.
All you can do is X, Y, and Z, right? And we've been talking about like, man, what about doing this and doing that and expand here and all these other options that you can pursue. Yeah, there's risk of everything you take.
Yeah.
But there's no glory without the risk.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that applies in the jiu-jitsu world too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta
Could
have
you
options.
show the picture on that? Because
Yeah.
I'm a picture guy. Ooh,
Insert it,
it's like-
right?
we want to put in
options.
I see, right?
Yeah, it looks like that shrimp on an ice cream.
Right.
It's interesting.
shrimp on ice cream.
Filipino ice cream.
You beat me to it.
Oh,
It was
it
burning in my brain.
That is shrimp,
It is. And a drumstick, the whole nine cupcake.
sausage, and ice. Yeah. That's,
All right. What'd you get?
All right.
I got ownership.
Oh.
I take ownership for how I make others feel. I do my part to repair any bridges I might have burned or perhaps even lightly singed. If bridge mending feels impossible, then I can start small. Instead of becoming a bridge architect, maybe I'll just skip the bridge and walk the long way around. Taking ownership is great for burning calories.
Ooh.
Damn.
Think of that.
Ooh.
That goes back to that whole you did not take the bridge when you first started training jujitsu.
No.
You went the long, painful way.
Most would quit.
Take ownership for
But it's,
I mean,
it's matches making the bridge there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Picture.
Shout out to I've probably said this a couple times. Shout out to my old lady. The CrossFit gym that she owns, and the reason why she's been so successful so long is she's definitely a bridge builder. And the
Mhm.
joke was like when she initially started, I got angry. Why didn't you get me involved? I wanted to do this.
Mhm.
But now being a grown up and matured a little bit and understand that had I started that gym, I would have burned bridges a long time ago. I think it takes a different mindset to be the one who can always build a bridge or
Yeah.
maintain that bridge. And I think there's also the dichotomy of that of the opposite person who tends to burn bridges. So I think we make a good couple because she helps.
By we, do you mean us?
No, you guys- yeah, you looked at
Nothing wrong with
Get
that.
closer. Get
you
closer.
look straight into
That
his
was
eye.
on camera.
That's
It
on
happened. I felt it.
Piercing eyes, right?
Yeah, June 1st.
Yeah.
But I like the last part of it where ownership burns calories, right? So with you owning your running and your dedication to that, not just the running burns the calories, but the prep, the
Yeah.
psychology of it, the mental game of it, the whole prep for that is helps burn those calories to it. The same goes, as you mentioned, with like jujitsu, when we get ready to compete or we're in there, like taking ownership of our game is helping burn those calories to success. In the gym, if we were being complete jerks, we could have potential of just burning bridges and not having that community. And I think within Soul Fighters, one thing that's attracted to me is it is a family of bridge builders, but we may be burning bridges on the outside. But it's an awesome place to share and communicate that. And I think it allows us to take ownership of our some of our vulnerabilities.
Yeah, I don't burn bridges. I mean, if I'm going to burn something down, I'm burning the towns on both sides of that freaking bridge.
You're going to leave the bridge and burn the town.
No, I mean, why burn the bridge between the two towns? If I'm mad at something, I'm burning town A. I'm walking across that bridge. I'm not burning, and I'm burning down town B. So I don't believe in burning bridges because that's half-assed. If I'm going to bring down something, I'm bringing down everybody. So that's why I don't believe in burning bridges.
Hey, optimism.
Wow.
And I will have options and I will take ownership. And my option is burn down town A and town B. And if town C doesn't like it, I'll burn that down too.
But you're going to leave the bridge, right?
Well, bridges,
Makes it easier to burn the towns that you can travel to.
Yeah. Why would you burn the bridge?
Yeah.
You burn it after you burn.
I'm old, man. I could blow out an ACL or something climbing up that ravine.
So a question, why are you so angry?
Yeah, what's the last
I'm angry. It's like I'm an established alpha male, and I want people to know that if they cross me, I'm burning everything down. I'm not burning a bridge. Oh, I'm going to burn down a library. I'm going to burn down like an amusement park. I'm burning down your home, their home. I'm burning down the school. I'm burning down every place where people worship. I'm burning down everything. I'm burning down.
Oh,
Yeah.
So Andrew Tate here today.
I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
Hey, so
But I'm
so
not.
you don't mean the
angry.
town, right? That's
Oh, the town.
no. Like what is the town? Define
Where
the town.
people live.
Like
Not
inside
metaphorically. He's taking the torch.
Like,
to the whole
yeah.
thing.
Is it like
It's like the Salem witch hunt right here.
Yeah.
or is it just straight up like there's nothing?
Anything I see, I burn down.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a pyro.
So
Mental.
yeah, paper cutter, that's something you do in jiu-jitsu. But when I'm out there in the mat of life, my paper cutter is I will burn down everything in my way. I will get what I want, baby.
what is in that
Wow.
Popeye's cup?
I'm just hungry. I'm just
These are
hungry.
good.
He's angry right now.
Oh, yeah.
right now.
If
Are you angry?
me?
Yeah.
No, man, I've had a good week. So,
By the way, I'm sorry. I want to shout out to my wife too, because
If you don't,
if I don't shout out to my wife and the other podcasters here always shout out to their wife, my wife gets upset. So shouting out to my wife.
so
Big
she
shout
doesn't
out.
Get upset.
to your old lady.
Old lady.
You need,
Yeah,
you need to
old
do
lady.
your shout out to your lady too. Because
She already knows. Like
yeah.
subliminal communication. Like it's there.
So
I'll
you're-
remind her.
for as long as you've known your wife, like you said in fourth grade, do you guys like almost finish each other's
Oh, yeah,
thoughts?
that's a
Do you even have to communicate?
Yes, we have to communicate. And no, we don't finish each other's thoughts.
Like it'd be like so symbiotic. You're
Just
like,
look.
I know everything about you already.
Yeah, there's no real surprises in our relationship.
Yeah.
But we are so opposite.
Yeah.
So my wife is very stoic, very reserved, truly thinks about what she's going to say before she says it.
Yeah.
She's one of the only people I know that truly lives out that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
has low standards in a mate.
Yeah, has very low standards in a husband. Like,
Wow.
thanks to lucky there. But and then I'm not, like
Yeah.
I'm a little more wild if you
Rowdy.
yeah. And so no, communication is key, but I mean we also, because we have 30 years of friendship under
Yeah.
our belt, like we know the cues, good and bad.
Yeah.
And so we can really do a good job of preventing the train wreck
Yeah.
pretty early on. And we've been through enough life together where it's just like, I mean, last night I was having I have a brain injury, right? And so I was having a deal going on with my brain. And I said, hey, I need your help. And I told her what's going on. And she's like, cool, got it. And it's good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we
Yeah,
can
get that.
kind of do that. Like
Yeah.
it's I'm very, very blessed. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's more so because she's great and I'm just like the caveman that lives there.
yeah,
But it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it works. Totally understand.
Cavemen need love too.
You're funny, man. I love you.
Yeah.
He's like, I got nothing. I'm just gonna eat the
You
salad.
just don't want me to burn your house down.
Yeah.
Burning it.
See what happens? It
Yeah, good.
demands a certain amount of respect. What about you? What do you get? Like, significant others?
Put that
children?
on.
No, single.
Oh,
Over there.
No kids.
Okay.
Like,
But it's awesome hearing about your guys' family, kids, wives, that whole thing.
yeah. For me,
sour.
sour. Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, I married my high school sweetheart, but
Oh,
the
wow.
thing is too is we've known each other since 14. It's
Mhm.
just she makes me better.
Okay.
And with my mental health stuff, sometimes I'll just come to her and say, I am not doing well. And then she'll just pick up the slack and like, what do you need? And I've been open about my mental health and all that in the gym. And I love that because it is really a team thing. It's kind of like what you said. She's opposite of me. She doesn't curse. She doesn't drink. Super sweet. Loves everybody. She would love these cards, you know, and she makes me better. So
Good.
yeah, it's good. But everyone has a different path, whether it's being married or being remarried or being single. But it's about one thing that comes up, and I love this, is you guys have things in your lives that you love, you know, whether it's the running, visiting a friend, doing your things with the Marines and the NBA. It's just life's short, like everyone says, and just find your thing and go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool.
Nice.
What were you? So you're 43?
43, yeah.
43. You've only gotten this a few years.
Yeah, a couple of years.
What were you doing to stay healthy?
Active? Yeah, that's a good question.
before?
I would say for the most part, it's been just going to the gym,
Mhm.
playing basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of staying, just doing different things, but never had like a real commitment to anything, right?
Yeah.
It was dabbling, right? Dabbling. And this is probably the time I felt the most committed to working out.
Mhm.
Actually, both working out and running. So now it's like, okay, great. Now that I've done this, maybe
Mhm.
next year I'll find that next challenge. Maybe I'll think of
Yeah.
something else to do. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever go back to just kind of, you know.
Do you think, do you feel you were maybe more career driven, where that concentration was there
Yeah.
more than say like you're competitive, I want
Sure,
to start running,
sure.
and then you could kind of master that a little bit. And then now you're, hey, I need to do something to,
Yeah, part of it, right? But I think part of it is kind of the way I've developed my mindset, right? To like now it's like I want to do as much as I can and I want to be good at everything I do,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You know, Luis knows me pretty well, right? So it's like, you know, when you go to my Instagram, I talk about a lot of things. I don't just talk about running or real estate. I want to be someone that's very knowledgeable and kind of understands the world and connects with different people.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I want to write. I want to do other content and just keep doing new things.
Just flow.
Just flow, right?
Flow.
That's it.
Be
See where it
like
takes you.
water.
Yeah.
Like water.
And then again,
It
you're touching
rock.
upon your card, which is your option.
Yeah,
You're,
absolutely.
you're looking at different things. You're not limiting yourself. And if
Mhm.
it doesn't work for you, you move on to something else.
Yeah.
And
But you
so-
do pick up a skill set
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah.
You
You do.
learn from it, and then
jack of all trades, Renaissance man.
Yeah,
type
kind of somewhere
person,
along
okay?
those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old recon Jack.
ooh, dang, jack of all trades is a master of
None.
none,
None.
but better than
Yeah.
one.
yeah, that crayon must have some IQ points in there, man. You're struggling. You're on the
Ketone
struggle bus.
crayons.
You just got to give them time. Just like
It's getting
it's
there.
coming. It's getting there.
ESL. Okay, I blame it on my E ESL.
And I could see just meeting you. Luis is a great guy.
Uh-huh.
Just even listening to you a little bit, what he sees, and he's drawn to this type of people. So I'm sure you guys feed each other really well and support each other. So that's really neat. You know,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
I mean, like, you know what? I heard this a long time ago, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, let's say you go out to dinner at a restaurant, right? Let's say you go out with your wife, right? And it's 6 o'clock and you're sitting down, right? And they bring some bread, right? And then you order an appetizer. And then they bring some water and a couple glasses of wine. And then the entree comes and the dessert comes. And next thing you know, you look up, it's like 10, 11 o'clock and everybody's gone. And you're like the last two people there at the restaurant. I mean, that's life, right?
Mhm.
Like before you know it, it's fucking over, right? And you've come to the end and you go, what did I do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I someone that I didn't matter because I just try to play it safe and follow the rules and ask for permission? Or was I someone that went out there and took chances, right? Like you guys joined the military, right? You work for the Spurs, you know, you moved from California to Texas, right? You guys have done different things to challenge you. And it's like, it could be something minor, or like you said, a major. But the bottom line is we always have to keep testing ourselves.
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, that's on cue for you starting your consulting business. All right.
Yes.
That's it. That's the message you
Yeah.
needed to hear.
Is this a positivity consulting business?
We were looking at me being a life coach, but when I met with Luis the other day, we were like, I won't. But again, it's that doubt you have inside of you. It's that you guys call it the drunken monkey, where I call it the two wolves, where which wolf am I feeding so that I could get the best out of my life?
That's stupid.
It is stupid. Yes. I'm earned from, well, I got one house on my list.
In the in the way, hey, I should have said in the words of Joe.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
But it's again, and I am older than you guys and they kid me. So for my timeline, it's just there's a little bit more urgency and focus. So people will ask me, like, why are you doing jiu-jitsu at your age? And you're always hurt. And then in my mind, I do it because I can only be hurt so long. There's going to be a time where I won't be able to do it, and I'll be missing out on opportunities to train and be with everyone. Like that time will come. There'll be a time when I'm not doing it anymore, but that's going to be hopefully, something I can't prevent. But if it's my mindset, and Richard, who we have last week, it's helped me a lot. I'm just going to get my ass and do it. Just kind of like when you run, it's your mindset and what you do with the transitions and taking chances. That's a mindset. So that's what I look for in everybody's like, what makes everybody click? That's my thing. And are they doing something where they're challenging themselves, getting better? They add value to other people. So that's my thing. So
You sneaking off, Luis?
what, if I could ask you guys, this is a new question. Because it sounds like you guys, what you're talking about with your options, how you've jumped from things to things to things. What do you see? What's your next thing that you want to jump on? Or what are you pursuing now? Or what do you want? What's the next evolution? Because it looks like.
Yeah, I love that. I love that question. And
These two made me think of it because of your history and you speaking of how you're in a point now, you're looking throughout all these things like a Renaissance man. What is your next big thing you guys want to pursue?
I love that to bring everything, wind it down. Let's go ahead and finish up with that.
If I may ask.
I would say right now I have a few goals. So the next race I signed up for is in 2 months. It's a half marathon in Santa Rosa, California. So just to beat my time from my last half marathon in Vegas in February. That's one. I would say the second thing is, so one of my goals this year is to buy 1 or 2 investment properties, hopefully 2. It's kind of one of the reasons I came out here. So get started with that. And I have people that I can partner with. So I know that once I get started, I have the next person I can partner with and the next person, and then just kind of keep that ball rolling. Because as we talked about earlier today at lunch, right? It's like, if you don't start building assets, you always have to go do the job, right? Like there's nothing that's paying you while you sleep, right? Or while you're just living your life. The third thing that I would say is probably along the lines of what we're doing today, which is to change my content up a little bit, right? So up to now, a lot of it has been just very real estate general related and whatnot. But I think I want to start talking more about like overall just like life, right? Finances, self-improvement, personal development, maybe some stuff to do with like masculinity and kind of like what it is to be a man. More along the lines of the things that I'm interested in learning, not just about, oh, this is my job or this is what I do for exercise, which is running, going to the gym. Kind of expand more on that as well. I think the thing is sometimes that holds me back. A lot of people is like people say, "Oh, who you are to talk about that? You're not an expert." But that's the drunken monkey.
Right.
But who is an expert?
Nobody
is.
Yeah.
Well,
it's your journey that you're sharing.
Yeah.
I feel that there is an expert here, and
Thank you. That's the nicest thing you said about me.
that would be Travis. I have to give him credit for some stuff. I went through some pretty tough things. About 6 months ago? And it's like, fuck. And Travis is actually a really, really, really amazing coach. So life coach. So thank you, man. I wanted to give you credit for that.
Pleasure. Thanks for trust, for sure.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Travis? You work for Caterpillar.
I work for the Holt family.
The Holt family.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, to your question, I mean, I've lived a very unorthodox life. I mean, we've barely touched that, right? And so with that came a lot of what's next and jumping around and this path that is my life, which I love, but it's been a journey, and so now I'm in this state where for the first time since I was 18 and left home, I'm home. I feel like I have roots. We have 2-year-old twins.
Yeah.
And so the shift is to slow down a bit and like not start looking at what's the next house we're going to buy, where are we going to move, where's the next thing, because that's been the the last 20 years. And so that's part of it, right? Like I want to really focus on being a good dad and being a good husband. Career wise, we're at a really pivotal point in what I do for a living and the company that we've launched, and I think we're at that point where this snowball is about to really start rolling, and so that's exciting. But again, that's like where that falls in my life right now. And then look, I've been involved in veteran ministry for 12 years and sit on 3 boards right now and see these organizations, just like I said, in business, about to tip into a way that is going to really help and change a lot of people's lives. And I don't know what that is or how. I mean, I know how we're positioned to be successful here and support these guys, but man, I've been doing this long enough to know that you don't know what's going to walk in the door. And so, this is the first time in my life, I think, since I was a kid, where consistency and steadiness and just being present and waiting for whatever that is next to come. Usually I've tried to feel like I forced it, or I saw an opportunity or a career move that sounded intriguing and I just went for it, and if it's worked out. And now I kind of want to sit back and like take all that experience and see what that is now. Like, see what this brand of leadership and brand of being a dad and whatever, I want to see what that brand looks like and how effective it is in these things.
Wow.
Yeah, those answers.
Well, those are they're pretty deep, huh?
Yeah.
So goes back to that comment I made while I was half joking, be like water, right? Like just flow, just learn to be cool, to enjoy, to slow down, to speed up. Yep.
Take ownership of those options.
That's right. Any parting words?
Like that.
Congratulations to you guys, 13th episode. So that's cool. And it's going to be funny when you're sitting up here and you're talking 1,000 episodes, right?
Hey, congratulations to you too.
52. I'll try my best to stay healthy. But
so I think now just Fernando, thank you for sharing.
Likewise.
I don't think I've ever intelligently attacked long distance running. It's usually just run straight into the wall when it's approached. So it's cool to talk to somebody who maps that out. So thank you. Welcome to Texas. I hope you find what you're looking for here, because good people are always wanted. Travis, man, I'd like to call you brother. And like Luis is saying, you've got a great ability to listen. So thanks.
Yeah, you do.
But that's all I've got, man. But thank you all for your time.
Yeah, man. You took the words from me. Yeah, I'm so grateful that you guys are here. All of you. It really means a lot. And this is so much fun.
It was
like
fun.
Seriously, like what better way to spend this our Thursday evenings, just talking stuff. There's some vulnerability. See that ESL pops up. Vulnerability that shows up, and that's great, because that's how it should be. Can't be all closed off.
That's right.
Which was me not too long ago. So.
Mr. Cool Guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Cool and shiny guy. Shiny.
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
It was like Velcro the other day.
There it
The
is.
keys are just like
It wouldn't move. It wouldn't move. So on that note, again, thank you so much. And to now we got 26, 13, episode 13. So we got 26 listeners
Ooh,
worldwide.
2
So
per episode. I
just
like
went,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
we just,
we're
Nice.
that when we were 24 on 12.
yeah, we had
so-
24. So now we got 26 people
Great.
listening. So thank you. And I'll see you guys in episode 14 in a
14,
week.
14.
Yeah. All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Hey, wait. We got to do our
Little
1, 2, 3. Pinche Podcast. We got to ready.
take two. Take
On three.
two.
On three. On three. Call it. Call it. Call it. Call it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. On
Pinche Podcast. And then